Welcome to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation's Conversation at Home program. I'm Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association. Now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce you to actors Bentley Green, Hailey Kilgore, Mekai Curtis, Patrick Walker, and Zainab Johnson. So we're gonna start by having you introduce yourselves and just give us a little snippet, especially you, Patrick, about about who you are and what you're doing in Hollywood. So let's start, of course, with Our Lady, Hailey.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hailey Kilgore, and I currently play Jukebox on Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. I started acting when I was about 9 years old, and I did a lot of commercial work and little guest star things and a lot of theater and show choir. And then, I moved to Broadway and started doing TV and film, and now we're here.
Bentley.
Hello, my name is Bentley Green. I play Joshua Johnson in AMC 61st Street. I picked up acting probably when I was around like 12 or 13. I originally started doing music, traveling and touring and stuff like that. But I'm here now. I'm blessed to be in this position, and I can't wait to showcase my talent on many more projects I have coming soon.
Patrick.
Hello, everybody. I am Patrick Walker, currently just played Frank Wills in Gaslit, in Stars is Gaslit. And I love acting. And we're going to talk about it.
Okay. Mekai.
Hello, all. My name is Mekai Curtis. I'm 21 years old. Born in New Jersey, picked up acting on accident at 4 years old. But since then, I've come to realize this is definitely the lane I was meant to be in. Currently playing Kanan on Power Book 3's Raising Kanan. We're going to get into that and my life and everybody else's life during this whole thing, this whole conversation now.
And finally, Zainab.
Hey, everybody. I am Zainab, Zainab Johnson. I'm a stand-up comedian and I'm an actor. Right now, I am on an Amazon original series called Upload. It's a half-hour comedy. I'm happy to be here and talk to you guys.
So let's go through the development. I mean, each of you, obviously, you express interest in, being an actor or being creative early on. How did you go about developing that muscle? How did you go about, creating confidence, first within yourself, with your parents, and then for others to believe that this is something that you could really do? Let's see. Why don't we start with you, Bentley?
Wow. I feel like since I could remember, I've always just been a confident kid. I always believed in myself, and it came super natural. I didn't originally start off with acting. I was doing music. So when YouTube first came out, I posted a video of me rapping, and it blew up, and that went for me going to do Ellen DeGeneres, to different TV shows and appearances. And I guess my mom just picked up on my natural charisma for the camera and how I handle myself and my cadence. And, God be the glory, she stepped up and we made it work. And just haven't looked back since. So,
but you clearly caught somebody's eye if you were already in Ellen DeGeneres. So
right.
Was it church? Was it after school? Where did you, hone that muscle? Or was it just out in the backyard hanging out with your friends?
I was just, since a kid, I don't really remember too much, but the stories I get of me when I was young, just always a light, always smiling, always cracking jokes, always being active, and everything just kind of fell into place.
Okay.
Really nothing but God, truly.
Always put him first. Hailey, what about yourself?
Yeah, it's kind of the same as Bentley. I grew up as a super creative kid. I was always singing. My parents put me in choir when I was very, very young. And I grew up doing gospel choir. So got to perform and really just be on stage in front of people. And I loved it. And I remember I loved it so much. And I knew that it was what I was supposed to be doing so much that I never really besides maybe wanting to be a doctor when I was 9 or 10, I never really wanted to do anything else or said I was going to do anything else. And so my parents really nurtured that inside me. And it wasn't until I was in about high school that I decided I wanted to do it, to pursue it as a serious career. And I got to be a part of the August Wilson monologue competition through the August Wilson Red Door Project. And gosh, to see so many people like me, just being outstanding and really standing in their truth and in their power, that's when I was like, I'm gonna do this forever.
And Mekai, what about you?
I mean, same kind of story as Hailey and Bentley. Grew up a really creative kid, super charismatic. I myself am a musician first. I come from a musical family, so that's kind of where my exposure to the creative world and arts came from. I started on drums. My father has toured the world playing keys for, everybody from Donnell Jones to, the Clark sisters. So that's where my initial, I guess, kind of hunger for anything in this realm kind of came from. And, just from there, grew up playing around in church and every now and again. And also still trying to be a normal kid. That's why I said even me falling into acting was an accident. I was going to the city for the first time, just with my parents. Ran into a talent agent on the train. She's like, he's adorable. Bring him to my office, and I walked out my first ever audition. Didn't get that, but from there, kind of snowballed into doing a couple different commercials. And when I was around 12, convinced my family to move out to Los Angeles to further pursue the dream, and that's where everything really took off. I was on a Disney show, or I did a couple Disney shows, a couple Disney movies, and as I got older, gradually moved to where I am now.
Now, it sounds that with each of you, there's been a moment of what we'll call a leap of faith moment. Zainab, what was that moment for you? Where you decided to go for the dream?
When I graduated college, I thought that I would teach high school kids math. And I remember being in a classroom and everything was going great, like being in a classroom in the Bronx. And most people have their epiphany moments, like when they've reached, rock bottom, or there's so much chaos. And I felt like everything was so great that's when it was silent enough for me to kind of just hear oh, you probably shouldn't be doing this. And then a really close friend of mine at the time was like, I'm going to LA, I'm gonna be famous. And I was like, damn, I can't let her go be famous without me. and that was it. And I packed up my little BMW, put everything in the car, and drove across the country. And that was it.
Patrick, what about you?
I feel like that moment. I lived in Jacksonville, Florida before I moved to Atlanta, and I started my career in Atlanta. And I feel like I graduated high school, and my biological father lives in Atlanta. And I remember having to leave my family. That would have been the initial moment of faith, that jump where I went oh, I'm leaving what I know. But I just remember there was one night, and like some of the typical African-American stories, I am from a not good environment, the hood. So I remember walking at 3 a.m., me and my friends walking down the street. And I remember looking out and being like, oh, nah, this ain't it. This is not it. At 18, and I moved to Atlanta, started taking acting classes, then got a few shows, got on a really cool show. And then from that show, after we wrapped our first season, the day after the finale, I moved to LA the next day. And moving to LA, I feel like is the biggest jump, but I feel like I had a little cushion because I had a little cash in the bank. But that move from Jacksonville to Atlanta was that initial moment where I was like, oh, God was talking to me. And I was like, oh, it's time to leave everything that I know to go do something that is greater than myself. So that's what I did.
And Hailey, making that leap from the Pacific Northwest, from Portland to New York City, describe that. What was that like?
That was a big jump. So like I said, I did the August Wilson monologue competition. And that's when I made my decision that I wanted to pursue college in theater. And I wanted to move to New York. So I moved to New York when I was 17 by myself. And It was a big adjustment. I'm so glad that there were a lot of reality checks along the way, because you can go somewhere with a dream and knowing that you want to do something, but that hustle is no joke. And yeah, it was beautiful. It was difficult. There were a lot of low points, but when I look back at all of it, it's a really beautiful journey at the end of the day.
Bentley, let's talk about your big leap, going from, arriving on a set with Ingenue Ellis and Courtney D. Vance.
Crazy. I just remember leaving DeSoto, Texas, and hadn't booked a thing as far as a theatrical project. I did a few commercials and stuff like that. And just my mom packing her car up and us driving from Dallas to LA. Stayed in an extended stay apartment for like 3-4 months. And for like 3 months, just going to auditions, trying to get a feel. And yeah, just grinding, doing school online, just trying to stay focused. And then the last week, I got a call back for like a Nickelodeon pilot, and after that, I just never looked back. Yeah.
And what was it like to find yourself on a set with such two actors who are arguably at the top of their game?
Man, honestly, I was nervous at first, because when I initially booked Joshua Johnson in 61st Street, Mr. C wasn't on the project. So due to COVID, we had like a 6-7 month break. So we didn't know if the show was going to proceed, any of that. Once I found out Mr. C was going to be a part of the project, it was amazing. Cause I remember watching Mr. C do the trials of O.J. Simpson on a 32-inch to now, working with him face to face and also working with Ingenue. It was easy because they made it easy. And Mr. C is such a class act. He instills nothing but wisdom, knowledge, the little things that count. Same with Miss Ingenue. And it was amazing. Mr. C's like my mentor. He's like a father figure to me now. We talk damn near every day. And he's just always giving me the little things that count and teaching me that gratitude is the attitude.
And Mekai, you literally stepped into title character on a hit show, on a show that's part of a hit franchise. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that leap of faith, that moment.
Man, that leap of faith, again, same stories. Pretty much everybody here is kind of the same thing. Packed up the car, drove across the country with no real guarantee of anything. Hit the ground running, just trying to, instill that footprint, let people know that I'm here and that this is what we're here to do. And the journey from that to, what I initially thought was just the dream at that point of being on a Disney show and garnering that sort of attention, to then growing and learning even more on that set and, falling even more in love with this industry and just this art form and this craft, to where I am now on a set with just literal, royalty in terms of the art and the work. It's a blessing. It's a journey, man. The jump, again, just having that little bit of, confidence within yourself and your ability. And, again, having my family with me, my parents who were the driving force behind that, really. I was just a kid with a dream, but they were the ones that put their heads together and really made it happen. Just to be able to make them proud and also display the gifts that God has given me on such a platform in such a way is the biggest emotional and enjoyable part of the journey.
One of the great things about this series is watching the actors, watching the camaraderie that exists amongst each of you, you guys as a group. Talk about that, how you get to know one another and how you perhaps develop relationships that you then use to help fortify and grow your careers.
I'm gonna jump out first. I look at it as sort of an iron sharpens iron situation. Prime example of that is, me and Bentley are always out on the audition trail together. It always comes down to us two. So, that was our initial sort of introduction to each other. But again, just after, seeing that sort of thing, and then, just seeing how our talents take us in different places, and getting to then see the work that everybody's putting in, it just makes you want to stay that much more on top of your game. It inspires you in a way, So that's really what this is all about to me at the end of the day, is, just pushing each other to be better as people, as artists. And I feel like that's, kind of the way that everybody in this group is moving.
Facts. Inspiration is I feel like is the long lost sibling, not long lost, but the sibling of innovation. Like you said, see the work that you all putting in, and I will continue to commend y'all, because what I'm saying, it gives me a whole nother perspective on ways to approach the art. And I'm forever grateful. I'm forever grateful to have people who appreciate the small things and appreciate the people around that's on the same mission, dealing with the same journey as themselves. And that's what it's all about. And then, we all Black, we all come from our own stories. Like, only God knows what we've all been through. So to see people, get to that point and elevate and do it in the right way, you can't do nothing but have a smile on your face at the end of the day.
Zainab, what about you?
I always think about, well, one, I have never met anybody on this Zoom in person, although I'm like a fan of you guys. So I'm not running into you guys at auditions or anything like that. But I mean, I don't think that, it's rocket science to believe that, supporting your fellow brother or sister will get you further than not, right? And that we'd all be stronger in numbers, and like love will get us further than hate. But I also think about, like, when I watch interviews with Tashina Arnold and Tisha Campbell, who have been acting since they were like kids, but they, I guess, met auditioning maybe against one another or something like that, and how that blossomed into this beautiful friendship that we have got to sort of watch for like however long their careers have spanned, and I just feel like that's inspiring. So if I could in any way do like a little bit of what they did with any other, brother or, like Black actress or actor, then it just seems like a no-brainer. It seems like camaraderie is key.
And Patrick, you were going to say something before I cut you off.
Yeah, and I mean Billy mentioned us all being Black. Yeah, so like even just us all being Black, I feel like there's generally like this idea of like that there's just room for one person. You know what I'm saying? I think that like the more that we work together, and the more that the industry is opening up, we find that like if we help each other, we can get further. Because it's like it's not just the days of just Denzel or just Sam Jackson, and like, or just like the one or two that they pick at a time. It's opening up for all of us to get a chance to come in and I feel like when I get auditions, if I get something that I go, oh, this is not for me, I'll send it to somebody that I know and be like, yo, have your people look out for this for you. Or, oh, like, I just booked I've been doing this for 10 years. I've done great guest star stuff. I just booked my first series regular like a few days ago. And like thank y'all. So like the community of people that I've helped over the years, and like working auditions, people coming to my house, us taping stuff, us running lines, like that, like community of also actors who are all like, I'm watching my friends go and do the great things that they do. I go like, it's much better when we work together. Even when it comes out of money, when we go, all right, cool. So on this show, boom, they giving me this. What you got? All right, cool. Let's talk about this. What is the perks? Like, God bless Sam Jackson. Like I did Last Days of Ptolemy Gray. Sam has been a great mentor to me. So like, even me getting the knowledge from OG, being like, okay, this is this. And then going like, all right, y'all, I got knowledge from Sam. Boom. Let me dish it off to y'all so that we all can benefit on like, because there's so much out here that like, to be honest, that like we're not getting a chance to touch. And it's good that now like the doors have been opened a bit, and like we can come through and I go, all right, cool. I got this show. I got these people. Boom. I just kick that door down. And I'm like, all my friends are like, y'all come on. Instead of being like crabs in a bucket, because we working together now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we're gonna get to that in the next question.
We're gonna get to it.
Hailey.
I agree with what everybody said. I feel like it's so cool, especially being so young. You still have to be willing to learn, and you got to be able to watch And even as I've had these blessings on blessings on blessings, it's so amazing to be able to look at somebody that I did Broadway with 5 years ago, or look at somebody that was doing TV that I was like, wow, I really want to be like Coco Jones. I remember watching her on Disney Channel and being like, that's what I really want to do. Or watching Keke Palmer and Nope last night and being like,
Yes.
like, yes, it's so exciting to be able to not only support one another and cheer one another on, but to learn. For sure.
But the hard reality is that, there is competition, and very often, like what you alluded to, Patrick, you're competing against one another for that one role. How do you navigate that? How do you come through that intact? And just let's talk about that. Talk about competition. Talk about what you gained from it. Talk about how you
I got you.
move through it.
I got you. Here we go. Let me tell you something. So a friend of mine, my boy Tien, he booked this show, Tom. There's been shows that like my friends and I are up for the same thing, right? And I go, and I'm sure we all gonna say the same answer because I've heard everybody on here mention God already. We know that what's for me is for me, right? And what, like when God say, Patrick, that is yours, nobody can take it. Okay, cool. That's yours. Nobody can take it. So because I believe in that so much, I can go, hey, Jock, like, let's run this audition. You got the same audition. I'll give you my notes. I'll give you my thoughts. Like, let's build it according to what you think. And we can go through it together because I feel like if it's mine, you can't have what's mine. It's for me. So, but I mean, that's how I feel like me and my group, how we've been able to get over the fact that we read for the same things. Because we just know that, all right, cool. Some stuff is like, when it's deep, they go, oh yeah, that's Patrick. That's Patrick's lane. When it's real dramatic, like crying, oh, that's Patrick, Or like, if it's funny, I'll be like, oh, let me give it to Mike, or whoever got that skill for that thing better. But teamwork.
Yeah,
Mekai and Bentley, have your experiences been similar?
100%.
Absolutely. I just said we run into each other constantly back and forth on the trail, but that just what makes it more exciting because, you get to, I mean, I'm not going to front this. Sometimes when the ego does come in, you're like, well, what happened? What do you mean I did it? But then you see it, you see the work that they put in, and you like, okay, I like that. I see what you did. Now that makes you, it just inspires you to, even add that much more intensity or that, new trick to your bag. That it keeps you, on your toes. That's really what it's all about at the end of the day for me is, kind of echoing what Patrick said, what is for you is for you. You know what I mean? And then as long as you go in the room or any spot, any place you walk in, knowing that you are you and that you're walking in confident that you're putting your best foot forward, that's all you can really, that's all you can really do about it is be at peace with that and let the rest do the rest.
100. I completely agree with what both of them said. Like, what's for you is for you at the end of the day. What's for you is for you. Like, all you can do is continue to grow, continue to learn, and be happy for the people that's winning. Because, you know what I'm saying? If you have a friend who's continuing to put themselves in a position to win, just continue to be thankful to be around it. Because that means guys in the neighborhood, just continue to work at your craft, stay in your lane. And, I feel like the real will always prevail, especially in this industry.
I totally respect what each of you are saying. Unfortunately, though, reality when it comes to our sisters, Black actresses, is a lot more difficult. And as the head of an association that is built around elevating Black performers, Black artists, I can tell you firsthand that it's very, very challenging to find Black women in quality roles some years. So for you two ladies, what are your thoughts about competition? Of course, you want the best for your friend, but at the end of the day, you also want to eat.
Right.
So you also want to grow. So how would the two of you like to comment?
I think it's been like stages for me. I do believe that what is for you is for you. So yeah, there's that element. I don't really find myself right now saying to my other actress friends like, hey, go, because for the most part, we're all repped by pretty big agents and managers. And like, I guess we're at that point where they also recognize that, and everybody is aware of what's happening. And I may be receiving something because they know I have a strong background in comedy. And it's just like, but I do remember where it was the most beneficial was when one of us got in, because I don't know, the landscape has changed like drastically in the past 5 years, like I'm so inspired when I'm older than all you. I'm tempted to call you guys kids on here. But I remember when there truly was just one role for a Black actress or two roles for a Black. Now there's so much, you know what I'm saying? There's so much. So I think that that's so like wonderful and inspiring. But I do remember like, oh, all right, there's a lane where if you're a really good comedian, it really opens up a lot of doors. I mean, everybody knows. It's just like, Mekai, you might know like, oh, all right, well, if I have like this clout as like a singer or a music artist, then that does open up. You're not battling with this just to like, how can I even get sides to this audition, right? Because the reason why I say, and Gil, you know this, the landscape has changed. I remember getting in trouble at times for having an audition. It could be as simple as a commercial audition and telling my friend, you got to come to this audition too. But she not on the roster for the audition. She don't got no representation for it. So they looking like, well, who do you know? How did you get into this room or this world? Like who told you? Do you get what I'm saying? And then it kind of transformed into like, I'm gonna tell you this and go, but you got to act like you don't know me. You got to act like, you get what I'm saying? And I'm glad that that's changed. I think that there's still like, an element, of course, of like competition, but I think, and this is like attributed to the internet and social media, because now we're having like a collective public conversation about what is necessary and required of all of our spirits for us as people to succeed. And I think that that's kind of like something that we all, for the most part, can agree on. And so we're all moving in that way. Does that make sense?
Totally. Hailey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, yes to everything that she just said. And thank you for, this is a learning moment, right? Where you listen and you really take in what she just said. Because I'm 23. And I get to go to auditions and just be like, oh yeah, they asked me to be here and I'm excited to be here. And when it comes to competition, and I had to learn this the hard way over the past however many years I've been doing this at this point, it's about making sure, as opposed to making it about the other women in the room. Because yes, you're cheering each other on, but yes, you're also all going in for a job. You're all going in to compete for a job. You have to keep doing the work, because if you haven't been training, if you haven't been motivating yourself, if you haven't been having those critical conversations with yourself, those growth conversations with yourself, why are you looking over here and looking over there? Like that even can fall into the number one on the call sheet mentality, where it's like, I'm at the top, or I've made it, or I'm this, or I'm that. But if I'm not doing the work, you're not going to feel good about what you're doing, So
faith without works is dead.
Straight like that.
Straight up.
Stereotypes are something that as Black people we live with each and every day. In the audition process, as you are creating the building blocks for your career, how do you navigate? How are you dismantling? How do you confront stereotypes?
Oh, okay. I'm going to take this. I'm going to go again first, because I feel like stereotypes it's almost internally baked into, like, if you look at the surface of what Power Book 3 Raising Kanan is, you could easily write it off as, a show about a drug dealing woman and her son and them in the middle of Queens just trying to live life. But when you peel back that initial layer, you see a family crime story you see the story of a family being told. You see the story of people dealing with emotions. You see a coming of age of a young man in a tumultuous environment while also surrounded by, you know, people that he's grown to know and love, and how they also deal with this environment, and how he internalizes what they deal with to then, you know, defend himself against this world. So that's how, you know, I feel like it's kind of enjoyable to me to be able to dismantle stereotypes, especially in ways like this, because you're telling story. You know, you get to peel back the cover and just tell the story of people, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. Is, you know, we are all just people dealing with things every day. So no matter black, white, whatever you want it, like it, to be able to tell these stories and humanize a person is the most gratifying part of it.
Okay. Patrick, you had what do you have to say, sir?
Oh my goodness. So I want to answer this question without getting in trouble. I feel like my first role on TV ever was a drug dealer named Lucius. And I found there was like a TikTok or something that went out that showed like a lot of actors' first roles, and like it was all negative scene characters. So I feel like when it goes into, for myself, when I look at certain projects, I just go like what do I want to play, and like how can I make something different? So even in the example that Mekai just gave about like that wonderful story, Raising Canaan, and timeout, Hailey, I didn't even realize that you were jukebox, and when you said, I was like, yo, what? So great work! Oh my gosh! All right, let me get back to the script. So no, so good. So I feel like for me, I just go like if there's a way that I can look at a character and go, this is my contribution in making it different, or like this is the lens that I can give it for us to see it this other way, then I'll go into doing it. But some stereotypes, I just look at it and go, nah, I'm good, you know, because I'm like, I don't want to, I mean, some stuff I just go, I don't want to play. So I found like that's been challenging where there's two roles in front of me and I go, okay, I'm offered two things at this moment. And then which direction do I want to go? And like, how do I want to do it? How do I want my longevity to be? I feel like being a Black actor, I won't even speak for all of us. I have to consider so many different things where like some of my counterparts can go in and they can do whatever they want to do. But for myself, I go like, I may not be able to at this particular moment. Maybe I might just be a little hard on myself, and if any of you guys, Zainab, if you haven't thought about it, I love you too. If you haven't thought about it, I would love to hear it, because sometimes I do look at things and go, if I have no way to like make it completely different, I won't even go that direction. I want to like try things. Like when they did Lovecraft, I was like blown away, and I was like, that's what I want to do. When I saw Nope last night, Keke Palmer killed it. I was like, that's what I want to do. Like the project I'm moving into for Apple, that's what I want to do. You know, like period pieces. I go, okay, I want to tackle some things in there without just having to be, which so wonderful to play slaves. I wanted, like, I'm interested in us finding other things, like instead of like the same stuff, you know? Yes. I know it was a lot. I'm trying to be, I want to be considered. Zainab, talk to me. I see you want to say something. Zainab, come on.
No, I mean, I think everything that you said, and Hailey, I think it's great and it's true. I get, this is not an answer to the question, but it's like we the only ones that got an answer for stereotypes. Succession is the most successful show on show. They rich, they white, they fighting over money. That's a stereotype. He do coke, he in the closet to do it. It's like the girl can't get no rights, although she the smartest one. Those are stereotypes. But nobody's calling it a stereotype. They like, this is mind blowing. And it's not. And so then when you do the same thing in, for example, something like a Power or something like that, they're like, oh, it's not. It's the same exact thing. So why do we have to, I don't know. It's like whenever conversations, not like this, but like of that, like, what do we have? It's like, just shut up.
We got you, sister.
How do I say it?
I love this
Okay.
moment. I love this moment.
Hailey?
No, I was like, come on, somebody.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's facts.
It's real.
Right. Yeah.
And Zainab made a great point, because you're right. It's the same story. It's the same character. But
yeah, we gangsters, it's bad. But when the Sopranos is gangsters, it's
Totally. That's gonna have to be in part 2. That's gonna have to be in the extended remix version of this. You know. We're about to close, but I want to ask you, each of you, about how does the dream realized look to you? What would represent that to you? Dream realized. We'll start with you, Bentley.
Could you, what do you mean? What do you mean by dream realized?
Meaning the role, the opportunity that would just, for you, be enough, would be a defining moment, would be
It's
like
never
the pinnacle of what,
this is
you know,
life.
it would be your mountaintop.
It's not a mountaintop. After I climb that mountaintop, I'm finna climb another one. Like,
Okay.
life, you know what I'm saying? This is life. Like, you only get one of these. And my mind can do so many phenomenal things by just the way I put myself in perspective and the way I push myself. So I never put a limit on anything, because the position I'm in, even now, you know, I remember being 14, 15, leaving Dallas, like leaving a lot of BS behind it and seeing different things and envisioning myself at 21 and wondering where I would be. And God has placed me in heights I have not imagined. And to that, I cannot do that to myself. I refuse to limit anything that I do. But as far as, you know, just a role, you know, whatever's in front of me, like we said previously, you know, what is for me is for me. And I just know it's some big things, amazing things. So I guess I can't answer that question simply because I don't know. I just know it's big.
No, and that's honest and that's real. I respect that. Hailey, what about for you?
I can't say it's one thing. I think that it's whatever I get to create and people get to see, because I was put in a position that people got to see my work and my art. And I would say that the entire journey of my work and knowing how hard I worked and how much I put into my skill and my growth, that's it.
It's so wonderful to hear how like limitless all you guys' mind is. It's like it's so wonderful. I think that when I decided to go into entertainment, my biggest goal was to tell my family story. I come from a really big family, and I love them so much, and I think that they're so cool and beautiful. And so I don't know. I just think that they're like the world should know them in character form, you know. And so I would be happy, or I would feel complete, although I wouldn't need to stop there, but I would definitely be able to like lay my head down if I was able to tell my family story, and by telling their story, create generational wealth for them. I would be really happy with that.
Great answer. All of the answers are great. Patrick?
So the dream realized completely, and to be as uncliche as possible, as crazy as it sounds, because I've spent so much time studying the characters that some of my favorite movie stars play, like on screen, and who they are off screen, who they play of themselves off screen. I would be cool. I mean, take care of my family is cool. We're doing that now. But I just want to be, honestly, one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, and I'll be good to go. Because like my main number one goal is to really affect the world. And I have like actual like pages of like neighborhoods, things I want to build, things I want to do. And like to be effective, like truly in the world, I feel like I'd be most effective by like reaching out to as many people as possible. So just to be honest, man, I want to be number one, best movie star in the world, biggest, period.
Yeah.
I love it. How can you not love it, man? Come on. For sure.
And Mekai, the final word goes to you, sir.
Thank you. I mean, but no, I mean, it's honestly, I'm just going to echo what everybody has also said. I'm going to say what, you know, I'm going to say what I say to people when they ask me that all the time is, you know, I'm really here to take over the world. And again, that's also a never ending mountain to climb. You know, where I am now could be the peak or top for people. But again, I have such a vast mind. I can do so many things. And I've been blessed. I've been anointed enough to be able to do them to such a proficiency that I'm just here to share that with the world in any and every way possible. I'm here to be a vessel of love and light because that's what God is. God is love. God is light. So any realm or platform that I get to touch and showcase that love through what I do is that's the goal. That's really all it is. It's to be the number one. It's to be, it's to affect the world in different ways. It's to, it's to show love. It's to be, a vessel of what we were here to do, what we have been put here to create. So that's all it is for me. It's a never ending journey. I say that I like to, I want to challenge myself to be a better person and a better artist than I was the day before. Every chance I'm granted the breath to do so. So that's all it is.
And the church says amen.
Amen.
You guys and ladies, how do we stay caught up with you? Social media, what are the handles?
I mean, I'm not the best with social media, but no, it's just everything is Mekai Curtis. You can tap in there, see everything that's happening. We got some really cool stuff coming outside of just season 2 of Raising Kanan, August 14th on Stars. Check it out. But no, yeah, at the Mekai Curtis on Instagram, Mekai Curtis on Twitter. That's how you stay abreast of what's going on with the kid.
Okay. Mr. Green?
At Bentley Green Official on IG. Everything else is at Bentley Green. Got some dope stuff coming out. Season 2 of 61st Street, early part of next year. White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah.
Early part of next year. So excited for more work. Excited for everybody to see it. And yeah.
Miss Johnson?
Social media is Zainab Johnson. Website is Zainab Johnson. Yeah, and I do live shows. I always got to say I'm a stand-up comedian. So if you really if you like me at all and you want to see some sugar honey iced tea, then you got to come to a live show.
I'm gonna come. I'm coming.
Miss Kilgore?
Yeah, everything's Hailey F. Kilgore. And watch Raising Kanan, August 14th. Yeah.
And Mr. Walker?
Here we go. Instagram at the Patrick Walker. I don't really do Instagram and stuff like that as much, but Apple TV, we're going crazy. I can't even say what it is, but we're going crazy.
Let's go.
I got 2 shows on Apple TV. Come watch. And Stars. And I love Stars too. If you got Stars, watch Gaslit on Stars. The Emmys cheated us a little bit, but it's all good. God's still good. But we moving.
Well, on behalf of the African American Film Critics Association.
Good job, Gil. Good work.
And the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, I want to thank each one of you for sharing your experiences, your process, and your craft with our audience. May all of you have success. Know that you can count on our organization to support you as you continue to rise in your careers.